All right, now it's time for stress management training, particularly talking about food and exercise and how that affects our mood and our anxiety levels. And we're going to have Elizabeth, licensed massage therapist and certified health coach, take us through this part.
Thanks,
Elizabeth?
Anne. Thanks, Anne.
Mhm.
Let's go on to the next page. So much to my chagrin, we are what we eat. And there are certain foods that really can make your anxiety worse. And there are certainly, when you eat healthy, when you eat well, it can also reduce your anxiety. I know for me, I struggle with anxiety and I've been going through a kind of anxious time. And I find myself eating a lot more sugar. And it's just kind of I want sugar and then I get some sugar and then it makes me want sugar and then I get more sugar. And the next thing, my joints are hurting because sugar is an inflammatory uh, and it's just terrible, but I love sugar. It helps. The same thing I notice that when I'll want a beer and the next night I'm going to want a beer. And it just doesn't, unfortunately, I hate to say it, but we are what we eat.
Well, another thing is that we go reach for those sweet, fatty, alcohol, all of those things. We reach for them because we get a dopamine boost, which makes us feel better in that moment.
Yes.
But there's a price to pay tomorrow.
Oh, yes. Yes. And inflammation. And especially, I feel like I know that as I'm getting older, I can feel it more and more, especially being a massage therapist in my hands. That's the first thing I feel. My hands feel puffy or my joints feel achy. But as we eat these highly inflammatory foods, it really can damage your health and cause chronic inflammation is just, it's terrible for your health. And it just is kind of like it's the beginning, it's your body is telling you that something is wrong by causing pain. And the more you ignore it, then the worse the pain gets. So left up unaddressed, it can cause damage to the cells and tissues and organs and scarring and change really your DNA. And, cancer and type 2 diabetes have been linked to chronic inflammation.
I think all of the immune disorders have a huge correlation with chronic inflammation. So yeah, all of these things that you have listed in this are so important to realize that if we could use our diet to improve our inflammation, all of those things would get better. Be a really
And
good idea.
and it's not like you have to all of a sudden eat healthy. It's just a gradual, like I still will have some sugar and some alcohol sometimes, but I know that it's going to cause me pain, especially if I'm going through an anxious time. I really work hard to avoid those because it seems to flare up even more if I'm already anxious and I have those foods. So the next page, it talks about what kind of foods do cause inflammation in your body. And I
Yummy,
have,
yummy, 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 yummy.
I know, it's just not fair, is it?
All the quick and easy process. Yay.
And it tastes so good.
I know.
If it didn't taste, I mean, why does it taste so good and be so bad?
Because they have scientists sitting there figuring out exactly what proportion of what bad thing they need in what exact order to cause us to truly be addicted to these foods.
Yes.
I mean, that's what they do. You aren't addicted. Their French fries aren't so much better for any reason, except they deliberately studied how to make you want more of them.
Yeah. And isn't that terrible? I mean, especially the fast foods are scientifically manipulating us so that we eat more bad foods. I mean, when you go into the grocery store, all the really good stuff that's bad for you is eye level. You know, if you, it kind of, and they always tell you to shop the perimeter, never go in the middle, shop the perimeter of a grocery
Except
store.
for the bakery.
I know.
Yeah. Okay.
It must be good if it's on the perimeter, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I heard a long time ago that, you know, cocaine is white, sugar is white, flour is white. All those things that are white are not good for you. And that was profound for me, because it gave me now a clue that if I'm looking at something, if it's white or overly processed, it is not going to be good for me in large capacities. You can have some flour, you can have some sugar, but moderation is always the key.
Colorful. We want colorful.
Yes, yes. Anti-inflammatories, that's exactly what they are. They're very colorful. Tomatoes, olive oil, green leafy vegetables are so good for you. We definitely need the greens, nuts, fatty fishes, and fruits. So this is what I really focus on, is how do we eat? When we are distracted eating, like watching TV or looking at our phone or YouTube, you're not being mindful about what you put in your mouth. And I really noticed this, especially after someone mentioned it, like coming home from the grocery store. As I'm driving, I'm sticking my hand in that bag of chips. And I get home and I'm hungry, even though I just ate half a bag of chips, because my mind was not engaged when I was eating. It was just basically empty calories. So the first thing they do is just being mindful about what you're doing, putting your plate, even if you having French fries and a milkshake and a hamburger, take a moment and just be mindful as you eat. You know, enjoy that one French fry, enjoy that bite of the hamburger. If you're going to eat the stuff, enjoy it, be present, and turn off the TV, turn off the YouTube and the phone, and enjoy it. And you might start finding that you actually eat a little less because you feel fuller.
Satisfied.
Yes.
I've noticed that when I'm distracted, I have looked over and I'm like, where did my food go? I didn't remember eating it at all. What a waste. What a waste.
I have disappearing cookies.
Yeah.
Like I'll get three cookies out and I turn around, it's like, where'd they go? Well,
I didn't eat those. I'm pretty sure I didn't have a chance to enjoy them or notice that they hit my stomach. None of it. Yeah. It's terrible.
No.
That's one of my worst distracted eating.
Yes. And there is somebody out there, she wrote a whole book about how she lost a bunch of weight by just being mindfully eating.
It's much harder when you live alone because you have a tendency to do something else while you're eating if you're not eating with someone else, or at least I do, which makes it much harder to just sit there and be mindful and not read a book or not watch something on your TV or your phone or something.
Yeah. And maybe going outside or sitting outside and enjoying the view as you're eating.
Possible.
Yeah. And this is what I really try to do, is anxiety eating. I'm a big anxiety eater. Sugar is my thing, but just checking in with myself, you know, before I reach for that, you know, chocolate or, you know, another potato chip. Do I really want this? Because our bodies are so impressive. They will actually tell you what you want as long as you're listening. I do this. I seem to only do this in the morning. I get up in the morning. I'm like, okay, so what do I want for breakfast? And I tune in and see what's the first thing that comes up. And I just eat whatever first comes up. And what I have found over time, that my selections of what comes up get healthier and healthier.
Did you know they did a study years ago, maybe even in the 70s, possibly sooner, where they took toddlers and offered them a variety of foods, and they found that left to their own devices with all this variety of foods offered, they ate a balanced diet.
That diet word, every time I say diet or I'm going on a diet, I instantly get hungry. So I can't do that. I have to
If I
find a
say to
way.
you, Elizabeth, don't look at that plant behind you, you know what the first thing you have to do is look at that plant. Same as diet means don't eat anything you want to eat. So
Exactly.
instead of doing that, I think it's more helpful if we say, I have to have 3 servings of vegetables and 2 fruits every day.
Yeah.
And if I have to eat those, then I've got to eat those first. I've got to make sure those are in there.
Yeah.
It's more helpful for me than it is for me to say don't. Because if I say don't, it's like watching it.
I'll show you.
Exactly. That little kid comes up every time.
Talk about cortisol, and really the worst thing you can do is eat when you're stressed, because 1, you're not going to be paying attention. 2, your digestion is not working, because as we talked about earlier, what is one of the things that turns off when you get stressed? Digestion. So you're going to end up with heartburn, gastric reflux. So, pay attention and try at least to get a little bit more calmer before you start putting food into your mouth.
Yeah, sometimes I find if I'm doing something that feels a bit pressured, but is creative process, like putting a class together or putting together a paper, something like that, I have a tendency to get anxious and start stuffing my mouth, I think, to reduce the anxiety, just as a calming influence.
Yeah.
When I probably need to be doing some breathing or some walking or something else.
Yes, we've talked about food, and let's talk about the E word, exercise. I know. This I have no problem with. I love getting outside, even if it's just walking the dog. My exercise consists of walking. I don't like running. Running is not for me. I really hate going to the gym, but just getting outside and walking, even just walking around the house and coming back in, it is an instant mood increaser. It is just unbelievable. And, I'm real fortunate that I have a dog, and so I have to go outside. But it does, as you're moving, it increases, and I've just gone blank on the word. What's the word when you start exercising?
Endorphins?
Yes, thank you. It does increase your endorphins, and you feel better. It takes a lot. It takes a lot to get me to the gym. I mean, I have to set a time. I find that if I set a time and do it at the same time every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, it's a lot easier creating a habit.
Routine.
But, yeah. But you don't have to go to the gym. You don't have to walk around the block. There are other things that you can do to incorporate exercise. First, when you go to Walmart, park as far away as you can and walk. Or
well, you actually see now my Fitbit just sticks its tongue out at me when I go drive up to the pickup where they bring the groceries out to me. But I found that if I actually walk through the store, I will buy all kinds of junk that I wouldn't buy if I didn't walk in. So for me, that's a good trade-off.
Yes.
For some people, it may not be, but I can't go to the store without buying junk that I wouldn't buy if I order.
Yeah, because the next thing I was going to say, maybe walk around the whole store. But you're right, because then you find that thing that, oh my gosh, I didn't know I needed some Captain Crunch cereal, or, I didn't need this big plastic tub to put all my stuff in. Yeah. And the other thing is, you can incorporate watching YouTube, looking at your phone, watch YouTube, then get up, or when those little 5-second commercials, get up and walk in place while that commercial is going. It's 5 seconds, but who the heck cares? Or hit pause and do 10 more seconds. It's really fun, getting really creative. When you're brushing your teeth, you could sit there and march in place. You can make it fun. You can be silly, which of course is really good for anxiety.
Movement is what we're really talking about. The E word has become sort of like the diet word,
Yes,
mainly because it's a should.
yes,
It's something we use to shame ourselves.
exactly.
We're not doing it, and we think we should do it. But you have to figure out why it's a should for you and not a I am doing this,
Right.
and learn how to do what you believe in as opposed to shoulding yourself.
As a massage therapist, our bodies were built to move. We have a whole lymphatic system that the only way you can move lymph around your body, which is important, is by moving. There is no pump like your heart. You have to move. So at the very least, if you can just stand up every day, move your arms, move your legs, just to get that lymph pumping so that it can bring white blood cells to wherever they need to do some repair.
And clear out the sewage.
Yes, yes.
It's kind of
And
important.
then get a massage. That's great
Yeah.
for lymph movement.
That is. Okay. Anxiety and motivation.
Yes. There is a lot of research that if you don't want to do something, your mind is going to give you thoughts to reinforce why you shouldn't do it. Like laying in bed this morning, I did not want to get up. So all these thoughts started coming into my head of why I shouldn't get out of bed. So what you using an interruption to stop those thoughts so you can do what you want to do. A big one is the 5-second rule. Mel Robbins did it. You know, okay, I have to get out of bed, count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and get out of bed. Don't put any thought into it, just do it. Because otherwise your brain is designed to give you ideas of why you shouldn't do it.
Yeah. The other thing about getting out of bed is the snooze button is the worst thing you can do. Because if you sleep and get up at the same time, your body adjusts your sleep cycles to fit the time you wake up, so that the time you wake up is when you're closest to consciousness anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But if you hit that snooze, you go back toward deep sleep. And when the snooze comes off, you feel horrible when you get up. If you just got up when it went off the first time, you would feel so much better. Other thing is drink a glass of water. Immediately drink a glass of water and get up. You feel so much better. Necessarily anxiety related, they're just related to getting yourself started. It's always getting started that's the hardest. It's that inertia, I guess. But if you can get started, you can move on. You have to get started.
Well, and these are things that will help you remember to start breathing, incorporate breathing into your exercise, doing visualizations. Just, you need the motivation. You know, we get too comfortable, even though we hate anxiety, it's what we know. And doing something different is always going to cause anxiety. So you need some motivation to take better care of yourself, to make better choices.
On the other side, a certain amount of anxiety improves your performance and motivation. It's just if you go past that, your performance plummets. So you're trying to ride this narrow little band of anxiety and motivation to keep you going. Without any anxiety, I guess we'd never do anything. We'd never move.
Yeah.
We have to have something to motivate us to get going. But too much will completely paralyze you. So it's just like everything else. Your greatest asset, if it gets out of hand, becomes your biggest liability.
Yes.
I always talk about persistence. You know, persistence is wonderful until it turns into stubbornness.
These techniques are all great, but starting off with the thing that what you want. What is it that you want? But the only way you're going to be able to choose is when I want to be better. I know my anxiety overwhelms me to the point where I just can't even function sometimes. It's like I'm walking around in circles because I can't get my brain to shut off. You have to want it. Understand that having a balanced anxiety is going to give you peace, joy, and you're going to feel good and you're going to succeed. And it's continually choosing. I want happiness, I want success, and I want abundance. How do I get it? By eating better, moving better, by breathing, by using visualization, by having a toolbox of anxiety busters that brings me down to a place where I can function and be productive and not make people around me crazy either.
Well, absolutely true. I'd like to say that we do have a number of other classes available to help with some of these things. Sometimes our problem is that we don't know what we want. We don't know what our core values are. So we need to figure those out so that we can align our lives and our activities with our core values. How we're spending our resources is actually aligned with our values. We feel so much better, and that's when your life is fulfilled. When they're out of alignment, you feel empty. You feel like, is this all there is? What's the point? All of those kind of things. So we're putting together a values class, an easy way to identify your own values and find out if you're actually putting your resources in what you believe. Another one is our Clarity Key class, where we go much deeper into where the motivations come from and how you have the thoughts you have, how you undermine yourself or sabotage your success. Then we have a tapping class that'll be online shortly. So come and visit. We have lots and lots and lots of different things that can be of value to you, and we hope to see you there.